Hello, and welcome to My Point of View Movie Reviews. Now today we're going to go back in time once again for another retro joint. The year is 1985, man. 007 returns Roger Moore as James Bond in A View to a Kill. Now, offhand, let's get it out the way. By far in the Roger Moore series, this is the worst film. Now, there's a little bit of stipulation why. The man was 57 years old, man. You know, he couldn't quite, karate chop the way he used to. Couldn't quite get those chops in. So there's a lot of body doubles in this movie, man. I mean, a slew of them. And there lies the main problem. Because you're watching the action, you're like, man, that ain't Roger Moore. It is what it is. But there's three elements that make this movie pretty great. The first element, the beginning intro of the movie, takes place in Russia, out in the mountains on the ice. Another ski joint. Man, some of the best skiing I've ever seen in a James Bond movie. Not quite up there with For Your Eyes Only, but man, second best in this series, I think. Breathtaking opening. In the very beginning of the movie, there's another agent inside the submarine. Now, the top of the submarine looks like a block of ice, like an iceberg, and underneath is a submarine. Yeah, they have 5 days to get back to the States. James Bond got him some ass. Now, the second best element of this movie is the cast, man. The villain, one of the best villains of all time in the Roger Moore series, Christopher Walken. Mr. Zorn is in this movie as the villain, the antagonist, and his number one henchman is the beautiful and graceful Grace Jones. She is a total badass in this movie. She's lifting fools up, throwing them down, beating them. She can shoot arrows and darts. Homegirl is bad, deadly, and just beautiful. Her skin, not a blemish on that beautiful, dark, beautiful African-centric skin. Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. And her face expressions, her eyes get real big and she grins her teeth. Love Grace Jones. The third element great about this movie, the opening song, A View to a Kill. At the time in the mid-80s, Duran Duran was a big-time group and they got the gig to do the soundtrack for the movie, the number one song, A View to a Kill. That thing was a chart topper. Everybody knew that song. Meeting you was a view to a kill. Face to faces in a secret place. This feel the chill. Yeah, this is taking me back. But the plot of this movie is pretty simple. Zorn, the number one bad guy, the plot was using oil digging as a front. What he wanted to do was get some real estate, and he was going to flood using where the oil rigs were at and flood Silicon Valley and steal the real estate. That's the whole plot of this movie. No world domination and nothing like that, but that's what it was. By far the most vicious and the most killing and violent James Bond movie out of all of them. There is some killing unnecessarily in this movie. This villain is bad. And Christopher Walken, the role that he plays, he's smooth and debonair. He goes toe to toe with James Bond in this movie. But don't let the smooth looks fool you and the slick hair. He was killing fools left and right. He was killing his own people in this movie. Now let's get to the James Bond girl. Tanya Roberts is the main beautiful James Bond woman in this movie. You might have seen her on Charlie's Angels and another 80s movie that was pretty popular called Beastmaster. Her eyes are deep as the bluest sky. Nice, full, luscious lips. She's beautiful. The chemistry between her and James wasn't quite there like in other previous Bond films, but it was salvageable. Again, saying that this is the worst movies in the franchise is also saying that there's great action. There's not really a bad James Bond movie. They're just not good as the other ones that came previous or the ones that came after. Some are just not good as others. Well, this was the worst one out of this particular series. Still some great action. There's a scene where he's on a fire truck. That's pretty exciting. There's another scene where he's chasing people through the Eiffel Tower. Also another scene on the Bay Bridge. A lot of great action. Not quite the same because he's a lot older, so they had a lot of body doubles in this movie. But in the end, the third act, it's pretty comical. It was very unbelievable, but man, people die left and right. People you like die in this movie. That's the sad thing about this particular movie. But box office, it did okay. It was time for Roger Moore to sit down as James Bond. He didn't quite go out on top like he did with Octopussy, but this movie was close. It was still a James Bond flick. And the soundtrack back in the mid-80s, everybody knew that song, A View to a Kill by Duran Duran. James Bond, Roger Moore, 007. He came back for the role one last time. Number 7. So far, he played James Bond longer and made more films than any other role out of other James Bond people. So that's something else. 57 years old, moving like that, pretty damn good. Karate chops wasn't quite there, but you know, he still kicked a little bit of that ass. And again, he got the women. He slept with, 3 different women in this movie? And one of them was Grace Jones. Yes, he got some of that dark meat. The one thing about Roger Moore, not just once, but twice, he liked to sleep with those black women in his movies. I respect that. The man didn't see color. It just seen beauty. Until the next time, like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments. And yo, it's just my point of view. One of the stipulations is the man was 57 years old, man. Dude was older. He couldn't move around the way he used to. Those karate chops wasn't quite, there. So there's there's shit.